All right, welcome everyone. This is our first video podcast, as you can see, and if you're not watching, you just trust us. This is our first video podcast. We're broadcasting from Douglasville, Georgia, from the Irish Bread Restaurant, or Irish Bread Pub, excuse me, in Douglasville. This is anybody else as tired as I am?
I'm beat, dude.
It's been a long day.
It has. It's been a very long day. We've been cramped in an upstairs room, and then we had a few teams downstairs. I'm going to introduce the panel before we run through these questions. First, I want to introduce the host of today's tournament. He's never been on the podcast before, but he is now. Just swing the mic over. It swings. There we go. It's Gabe. Now, Gabe, this isn't trivia, so just act like you know what you're doing.
How you doing tonight, Mike?
There we go. There's Gabe. So, Gabe, you hosted the tournament. What'd you think? This is your first time hosting the Tournament of Champions.
I don't see it much different from a normal trivia show, though.
Yeah, you're right. It really is, except the caliber of teams are a lot better, right?
That is definitely true. I can pronounce everything today. I was impressed on that.
Except for one team.
What? Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. Did you have a favorite question tonight?
I got to say, it was towards the end. It was a TV question where we asked. Not the TV question, the history question. The Carpathia, the
boat that rescued Titanic.
The rest of Titanic.
Cool. Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's swing the mic over to Jason Joyner. Jason, you're a veteran to the podcast now, and you've been to a few of these Tournament of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think? How'd you think today went?
I thought today went as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
No problems, really. Except for maybe that
unless you're a physics teacher, right?
Yeah, that was rough.
Okay. To your right, my left, is John Gomez, the illegal alien.
See?
Hey, you would have said something about it before I would have, so I cut you to the...
I said it earlier when you introduced me to the crowd.
Okay.
Coincidentally, my favorite question was the one about the physics teacher.
About the physics, the Large Hadron Collider?
And I'm sure we'll get into that, but it's just the way, and when we get into it, the way it was asked made perfect sense to me.
To you, but not everyone
Well, to a lot
else.
of people, but he seemed to be the only one that took issue with the way it was worded, and I think he's a little bit dramatic on it.
Well, we'll talk about that. And then to my right, no one's left, is Jim Driscoll, the esteemed... can we say the
elder statesman?
I was going to go with
I'm
old
fine
fart.
with that, and I better speak now because with this crew,
I'll
never get another word in.
See, we were already trying to tell you how to
Jim,
fill
we'll
that sentence.
cue you so that way you can. Add
and
some
I said
words.
no one's left, but I should say that Russ is on the line. Russ from SpringfieldTrivia.com. Russ checking in over Skype, and if you're watching the video, you can see him. We've got him pulled up on our laptop. But Russ, how's it hanging? Oh, your internet sucks. Are you really?
I can.
Oh, that's much better. Absolutely, yes. So, Russ, give a shout out. How's the snow in Springfield? Oh, it's going to be one of those shows, isn't it?
Russ. Rick Springfield.
Russell.
Russ, can you hear us?
The TV.
The TV.
He's watching the Bears.
Well, let's move along. We don't want to spend too much time. Russ is there. He'll chime in whenever he wants. I must say that Russ wrote most of the questions today.
That's why they were so hard.
Well,
man.
now. I would say this was a more easy Tournament of Champions. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I would think by the scores today, it was definitely easier.
Well, let's get right into it because we are on a time frame and we don't want to. I don't think we want to run out of memory on the camera. So let's
drinks.
Or drinks, yes. Let's start with number one. It's a technology question. This is a question or a category we don't really ask a lot about, but it seems to come up during the Tournament of Champions time because there's a lot to ask, and I think we'll see a lot more from it. The question happens to be Nolan Bushnell started what video game company in 1972? Now, I would say the more intriguing part about this was the tidbit, and the tidbit is what we accompany the answers with. First of all, just anybody have anything to add to Nolan Bushnell? I thought it was binoculars. Am I dumb in saying that?
No, that makes sense because of Bushnell binoculars. I'll
is
go
that
with
the
that.
same guy? Is that? I mean, I think it is, right? I mean, how many Bushnells have you met in your life?
I think Bushnell binoculars have been around for a long time, so I don't know it's the same guy, but could have been the same family.
Sure.
Yeah, when I heard the year, I kind of had an idea in my head about what
1972.
he did because of the timing with home entertainment and technology at the time.
I mean, that's right in the beginnings of the computer age.
Yeah.
The answer, Atari. Now, I started out with saying the tidbit was the most interesting. He started Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, I think he's. I read something recently that said that he started both companies And I think at some point he sold Chuck E. Cheese to some people, and then they started out small and it kind of grew, and then he just sold it, and then it exploded.
Then it exploded.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I was wondering if they give away Ataris at Chuck E. Cheese's.
That would be a good. That's how Ted Turner did it. You get some billboards and radio and let them feed off each other. So
well, I remember my 2600 though. I mean, I remember Joust.
Asteroids.
What? Galaga.
Galaga.
I mean, and you can have any of those games at Chuck E. Cheese for 70,000 tickets.
Yeah,
70,000. That's like 6 hours on a skee ball machine.
Yes. $2,000 and 8 hours of play.
They at Dave & Buster's now they have that. You can get like PlayStation 3s and Xbox 360s. And I saw they had a PlayStation 3 at Dave & Buster's. They have like a little store to go in now. They count your tickets and then they let you in the store. And they have a PlayStation 3 for 73,000 tickets.
73,000. How about more outrageous? Let's move to our next question. Number 2 is a movies question. What man's 31 movie roles included the characters Clint Reno, Lucky Jackson, and Tulsa McLean?
This is a great question. And when you hear the person, you understand where the character names came from. But if you really don't know who it is, you hear the character names, you're like, who in the world is
that? Yeah.
I think this is one of the first questions we had that just tripped up so many of the teams today.
Which I was surprised. I thought that, Elvis being who he is, and I just gave up the answer, that, a few of his names would have been known.
Well, I thought we're giving away saying 31 movies. I mean, how many actors have been in 31 movies?
Robert Vaughn.
Who?
Robert Vaughn.
Who?
Exactly.
But, I think what throws people off is, one, like Gabe said, nobody really knows how many movies he actually did. And two, if the ones that he did do, I heard a comedian say that he was such a Eddie Murphy in, I think, Delirious, said he was such a terrible actor, all his lines he got to sing. It's like, Elvis, we got to win this race. We got to win this race. But nobody really thinks about the character names that he actually played. And I think that's what threw everybody here off, because everybody was like, when you said the answer, everybody's like, you're just like, what?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, John Wayne is the first person who jumped in my mind when I started reading it. The only one was Clint Reno. I was like, because all had Reno, Jackson, Tulsa, all names of
cities.
Yeah. So I thought John Wayne to begin with when I first read that question.
Perfect. That's a good stopping point. Number 3, geography, Arcat. Are you mad at me? I'm just moving along, just butting you out. Russ, are you with us? Have we lost Russ?
Yeah, at some point I can hear you.
Okay. All right, well, we'll try to get you in. We'll give you your due process here. Geography was our next category. What mountain range separates France and Spain?
I would have thought that a lot of teams got this right.
I'm surprised, too.
We've had variations of this. And did they?
Yeah.
I thought it was the Apennines.
Most teams
how you
did.
say it? The Apennines Mountains?
The Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Pyrenees.
I thought it was I've heard the name Apennines, and that's what I thought it was. But when I saw the answer, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Let's move on to number 4. It's a TV question. Remember the mic, we can't hear you. You're busting jokes and it's not even on the mic. Number 4 was a TV question. What critically acclaimed but short-lived comedy series followed the unstable lives of the Bluth family? This is a show that resonates with nerds and geeks across the land, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. And it also was a very difficult question for Gabe to read. He had to do it 3 times to get it out.
Way to go.
He was like, the Bluth family?
So the answer, Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's one of those, what is it, cult classics, I guess is what they call them?
I would say as far as TV is concerned, that would resonate well. Question 5, TV or sports, the category. What Dodgers pitcher is the tallest player in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Now, there are 2 baseball players at the same height, 6'6", that are in the Hall of Fame. The other one is Dave Winfield, and the answer that we were looking for was number 53.
Which would be Don Drysdale.
Don Drysdale.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, Russ.
Yep.
You wrote this question. How in the heck did you find this?
He actually didn't.
Question.
Oh, you didn't?
It was me.
Oh, how in the heck did you find this?
I measured everyone in the Hall of Fame last night. I went
Very
around the
good.
nation.
Moving on.
That's way too easy, right?
Measured their height. Gabe, you were ready for that one, man.
Gabe had that gun locked and loaded, man. He's just waiting to fire.
Question number 7 was history. Whose 1964 presidential campaign featured buttons with the simple slogan AU H2O?
That's a
great
really
question.
cool
Best
question.
question of the day, I think.
Yeah.
It's not very